The first term just ended, and I think he has done fairly well. Nigeria is a population of more than 200 million. It's not going to be easy to satisfy everyone, but I think there is sense of focus. I think there is more accountability in the government. I think there is more resolve to get things to work rightly. But only one situation which every Nigeria is very wary of. We're also not very happy about the deterioration of the security situation in the country. Security has really deteriorated, and I would wish and I urge the president to do more to safeguard the lives and properties of Nigerians.
No, Mr. President came in at a time where Boko Haram rampage was at the peak. And as you can see at the moment, Boko Haram has been, degraded. Issues of evasion of communities, abduction of 100 of citizens and all of that have become things of the past. Not that we still have pockets of insecurity here and there, and some of these things we cannot totally rule out politics from them. Nigeria is a complex state, and the complexity should be taken to bear when assessing some of the achievements of Mr. President. Now, the area of corruption, he has done so well. We know the number of high cases, high-profile cases, that are currently in courts, and the ones where convictions have been secured. I think in the area of fights against corruption, Mr. President has done very well, and if given, the needed cooperation in this second term, he will do better.
I expect him to adhere to rule of law more than, just clamping down on the judges. Just like when the SSS, at a particular point in time, DSS went and clamped down on the judiciary. It wasn't impressive for a democratic government. Definitely there are procedures in which even if the security agencies want to do their investigations, they should follow a proper procedure, not just using draconian ways of clamping down on them. Even though, well, on another side again, when you look at it, the system is so corrupt, even the security agencies themselves, they're always found wanting. Yeah, their acts are questionable most times. But then I think Mr. President should work on security personnel, and the heads of the securities, most especially the FCC. They are now into so much impunity, to the extent that they don't follow rule of law.
The objective of the government clearly is to fight corruption, the anti-corruption fight, and then fair dispensation of justice in a way and manner as to guarantee the independence and impartiality of the judiciary. Once that has been identified as a core purpose or trust of government, then the mechanism of building a consensus around those issues becomes almost inevitable. And therefore, one would expect that even with the revamped legislative framework, talking about the administration of criminal justice, talking about so many other legislations already in place, you can only but expect proper, flow of these activities in such a way that our country is extricated from this crisis, because corruption, in our view, has become existential. The president must clearly understand, much as he is interested in seeing things done fastly this time around, you cannot run faster than these coordinate bodies. If you run fast or rush to court, you will rush out. It's as simple as that, because the principle of law recognizes even the innocence of the accused person, in which case you cannot circumvent or foreclose the right of the suspect or the accused person to be able to deal with it. So by and large, it is in our interest to be hopeful, to be optimistic, but not to hope against hopes, to continually advise and hope that the patriotic quotient of state actors, whether in the executive or judiciary or in the legislature, should rise above some of the bickerings that we witnessed in the first dispensation.